I mean, if you've never been in the data space, never worked there before, it's quite intimidating because everyone is throwing around like 100 concepts, and it's so much to learn. And when you look up tutorials, it's like incredible stuff. Um, but I learned when you start with it and do the first steps and have some small successes, then the rest gets immediately possible for you in your mind.
Hey nerds, Monica here. Welcome to the Data Podcast for Nerds, where we get to talk to amazing professionals and ask them all about how they're using data to solve the world's problems. We're highlighting all kinds of special skills that are very beneficial for all data professionals out there. And of course, we include some fun bits because we're all nerds here and we love to have fun. So today with us, we have Fabian Werkmeister. How are you doing, Fabian?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on the show. So we start off all of our episodes by understanding people's origin stories. So if you could, please tell us about your background and how you got to where you are today in your career.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, origin story sounds like I'm some kind of superhero, which I'm
Absolutely,
not.
yes.
Which I'm clearly not. I'm just a regular like all the others. Um, I started in economics and business administration because I thought that this would be my career path, which wasn't the right path for me, actually. Uh, I noticed that I like to work with numbers, so I took this path. But then I made from my bachelor's and master's degree in business administration, I worked a bit in market research, in online marketing. So in the marketing area with a bit of numbers, but this wasn't quite the right fit for me. And when I worked in market research, I worked with statistical software, SPSS. Maybe some of you already know this, where I had to code up some stuff. And this was actually pretty fun when I had my headphones on, like going down to my coding cave, coding for hours. And then I discovered maybe this is something for me. And then I Googled like statistics, math, coding, and then I pretty fast landed at data science. And then I Googled again, what is data science? How can I get there? And then the data science bootcamp popped up, and the decision, I made it in like 2 days. I said, well, I quit my current job and let's do this data science stuff. Um, and this is my story in short.
Wow. So 2 days you were like, I'm leaving my company to start this boot camp.
Yeah, this was
That's
a
amazing.
easy and quick decision. Yeah.
So then tell me a little bit about the boot camp and how that was structured and what you focused on.
I guess I stumbled into the early days of boot camps in Germany because I guess in the US the concept of boot camps is quite it's not quite new, but in Germany it is. It's around like for I would say 3 to 4 years. I think in the US started like 10 years ago. Um, so this was a bit iterative and new, and the bootcamp providers also were new in this business, so they tested out a bit with our cohort. But it was quite fun. It was structured in 12 weeks. So we had 3 major projects where we learned and coded, and then we had a project where we basically did everything we learned in the last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks. And so it was pretty hands-on learning and not this classical, I would say, school approach. Here, learn this and learn that. It was basically, you need to learn this. Here are resources A, B, and C. Find out and work on this project. So very hands-on and very get your hands dirty yourself, which is for me the right approach. Otherwise, you just repeat what others do. If you have to find out where to get your stuff, then you learn a lot more.
Mhm.
And this was basically the concept. Here are your resources. If you have any questions, you can ask your tutor, your teacher, but your first priority is to find it out yourself.
Okay. And what would you say the top skills that you gained from that boot camp were?
Most people would expect that I would now list some hard skills, some coding stuff, and so on. But for me, the most important thing I learned is that I can code and that I can do this if I put in the effort, which was a kind of a belief I had before that bootcamp coding and stuff is too much for me. But this is something I learned. If I have a genuine interest in something, if I am curious, if I put in the work and the hours, then I can do this for sure, which I didn't knew was possible before. And I don't think we need to talk about all the hard skills because you can basically look up every bootcamp. They all teach the same stuff. But it's rather on the soft skill side I learned that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So it gave you the confidence to know yourself and your abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So what do you do today? What's your title, roles, responsibilities, all that jazz?
I'm one of these recovering data scientists. I think
Okay.
some of you heard of this term, which basically means I was hired as a data scientist, but when I began to work, it became quite obvious that I had to work a lot on the infrastructure underlying beneath all of this, which means I thought I would do modeling and data science stuff and AI and machine learning, but for the last 2 years, I'm working on the infrastructure, like building the foundation for machine learning models and for AI. And so I would call myself a data engineer, or if you would say I'm data solution architect. So many buzzwords out there. Basically, I'm building infrastructure to get the data from A to B and to get it in a consistent manner so that we can build some great models in the future.
Okay.
That's what I'm currently doing.
All right. Did you ever have experience with the data scientist work and then you just transitioned, or did you start with building that architecture?
I didn't have any experience in anything before starting. So
Okay.
basically these 3 months bootcamp were my only experience. And so I started totally from scratch. I mean, I knew some terms, but in my job, I also had to do stuff where my what do you call him? My team lead said, "Hey Fabian, I need you to do this." And I said, "Yeah, I'm not sure how to do it." And then he said, "Yeah, find out and build it." So basically the same like in the bootcamp. Here are the resources, try to get it to work. And this is so great to learn stuff because when you have to figure it out, I mean, with a bit of pressure, he wasn't pointing to me and said, if you don't find this out in the next 2 weeks, you're out. So it was a bit of pressure. You have to get to this going, but find it out. So, and this is great for learning. Great atmosphere.
Absolutely. So it seems that you're really passionate about doing things, getting your hands dirty, and also building out projects. And I kind of want to deep dive more into the projects that you share with the community. So if we can, we'll call this the fun bits. So we'll get into the fun bits. So I see that you share a lot of different types of data project ideas, data sets, and all of that with the data community. I think that is very wonderful. And I just wanted to ask, like, where did that come from? Was it because of your success with the bootcamp?
Yeah, kind of. It started when I did the bootcamp because when I learned what is possible with data, where to get data from, what you can do with all this stuff. I don't know. I felt like Neo in the Matrix when he begins to see all his environment with all the numbers, and so my world started to decipher in front of my eyes, because I began to see the world in data, and so, because of that, so many use cases popped up in my head, and I wrote them all down in my Notion account. And when I started my job, I obviously was occupied with learning all the stuff. And then I came back to my Notion account like 1 year later, and then I noticed, well, I get like 100 projects piled up in my Notion space. I can't possibly do this. I don't have the time for this. And when I started posting on LinkedIn, I thought to myself, hey, I can't do this. I don't have the time. Why not share it with others? Why not let others do this? I mean, this is no rocket science. This is just ideas that piled up. And then I thought about, hey, can I pour this into some structure and hand it out to all the people out there who also want to learn? And yeah, this is basically how this whole concept came into life. So basically, I take a data set and think about what data engineering things can you learn on it. So on a very basic level, what data analytics concepts and things can you practice, and what data science, basic machine learning modeling can you do on this, so that people get an idea what is possible with data and how you can apply it on nearly every data set you find out there. Because what I didn't expect is that this data work is so creative in terms of what you can do, how you can transform data and work with it later on. So it's really magical for me what is possible. And yeah, and that is how my project ideas came to life, which I share every Friday on LinkedIn.
Awesome. What are your favorite data sets that you found and shared?
I don't have a favorite in particular, but I like the ones you can create yourself. Like I have like my personal device tracker here, which generates tons of data each day, like steps and when I go for a run and so on. Or Spotify data with my own playlists I can analyze, and you can easily grab this data from like connecting to your computer, very easy. Yeah, so in conclusion, it's the data you can really collect and generate yourself. This is what I'm most passionate about, because this is data I understand, data I like to use, and this is also my advice to everyone starting with data work. Get some data you have a personal interest in. Like for me, it's football, not as so European football, not so you call it soccer, I guess. This is what I really like, and of course, music data. And this is because I totally understand the data. I don't need to invest time to figure out what this color means, what this data means. So I'm an expert for this data, and so it's really easy for me to work on it and to keep motivated to work on.
Yeah, exactly. And not only do you understand the data, you're the subject matter expert with it, you also probably have a lot of interesting questions and problems that you want to solve with that data set, right?
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, you can investigate every data set in a general manner, but if you're a subject matter expert, then you know about the important questions. For example, if I don't know about a specific sport, then I can't ask specific questions. But if I watch a lot of football, so I know what's an interesting question to me as a viewer, if what I want to know about a match, so I can ask the right questions and use these questions to explore the data and find things out. Really, really. Also in a business context, it's the same. So if you want to get something from your data, you have to know about your data to ask the right questions to begin exploring.
Absolutely. Yep. So that's why a huge skill for data analysts, data professionals, is that domain knowledge of the business that you're working with.
Yeah, I see this in my everyday work because I'm in a central department, so basically working for every business unit. And it's quite a challenge to switch between controlling, marketing, finance, maybe web analytics. So for me, it's really hard to get into every project into this level of detail that people working on the business side have. So it's very important to talk a lot with these people, which I didn't actually expect it. I thought I get the data set from the business side and can work on it in my time. But most of the time, it's not the coding, it's not the data work, it's the questioning, talking to people, figuring out what their problem is, because they can't express their problem in data terms, I would say. So it's really a translation job in both directions, which makes it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a similar experience when I was in auditing. So I had to understand all different kinds of departments and how they use the data that they're using and what problems that they're having as well. And you're right, spot on the nose. It's a lot of communication with the business people. What would you say is another way that you could learn more about the data from those different departments?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, you can. What I would do if I would start a new job, I would fill my calendar in the first month with a lot of one-on-ones. Try to find out who's in charge of different departments, who's in charge of the data, which is often not defined. So it's a lot of detective work in most organizations. This is a great approach to get a feeling of what challenges different people in different departments have. Otherwise, this is a great question. Maybe I can ask this back if you have any recommendations how to get to this level.
Yeah, so to expand on your one-on-one comment, I would ask to kind of sit in different departments and do job shadows or ride-alongs. I worked at an electricity company and I actually did a ride-along with one of the troublemen. That was amazing. So anytime that you can submerge yourself into other people's work and really, really ask questions, be curious about the data that you're working with or that they're working with, not just asking specific questions, but open-ended questions too, is how you receive a lot of more information that way.
Yeah, that's a good point to get a feeling of the core business, because especially in IT or data, you're so far away from the actual product often. So you're one abstraction layer above everything. I noticed this. So I'm working for a media corporation, and we sell newspapers, and so it was really a mind-blowing experience to experience our authors to work directly on news coming in and so on. So I learned that especially in the news industry or media industry, speed of like publishing your article on the web or getting it out is crucial, because when you're the first one to push out an article, then you get the most web traffic and so on. So speed is really crucial for the business, which is a considerable element in your data work. Often you can provide data like from yesterday, you can provide it in the morning, but especially for this news processing, you can't wait a whole day, because if you get a news which is 1 day old, this is not per definition a news. This is old news. So that's a big learning I had. So this speed of publishing, the speed of getting information, this is really crucial for in comparison to other businesses.
Mm-hmm. To go along with the topic of learning, when you're trying to learn new things, what are your go-to resources? Books, courses, boot camps?
In the beginning of my career, it was clearly like YouTube tutorials, Udemy courses. I got a data camp subscription. But when you mature to a certain level of confidence in, I would say, SQL, Python, or in different software applications, then these simple starter courses won't take you any further. So my approach currently is I'm a lot on Medium and LinkedIn, where like real experts from the data world share what's new, what's hot, what's valuable to learn. And then I try to find some small resources, and then I'll learn it directly on the project. So you don't have to make a whole project out of this. Just maybe take a data set and just apply your tiny fraction you want to learn on this data set. So but what I often do, I choose 1 to 3 learning topics I want to learn this week, then grab a data set, and then maybe apply some of this stuff with maybe with a small tutorial either from YouTube or a blog post, and then apply it on this data set to just learn these 3 simple topics. They can come from the same over core topic, I would say. So you won't learn big topics with just one application. You have to cut it smaller into small learning chunks and then apply it on a real data set. I mean, you can do tutorials, but these are often I would call it these clean lab environments, because everything is working well. And this is clearly not the reality in terms of data quality, data sets, and so on. So I really take a data set and apply tiny bits on it, and then try to learn something from it. So I do a lot of reading and a bit, or if I would compare it, I would say I do 70% reading, 30% application. This is the ratio I learn. When I have the time, of course. I try to incorporate this to reserve some learning time in my daily working routines. Some weeks it's possible, some weeks it's not. Some weeks I only take away like 10 minutes in the morning, but this adds up to 50 minutes in total for the whole week. So yeah, but everyone is a different learner, so try to set aside some time. And if you just try out one tiny bit for 5 minutes, then it's clearly better than doing nothing. So you get to stay in the flow and don't rust, I would say. Then it's going upwards.
Yeah. Those are really, really great tips. Do you have any other final words of encouragement or recommendations for the listeners?
Yeah, I would again would highlight my learning from the bootcamp that I mean, if you've never been in the data space, never worked there before, it's quite intimidating because everyone is throwing around like 100 concepts, and it's so much to learn. And when you look up tutorials, it's like incredible stuff. But I learned when you start with it and do the first steps and have some small successes, then the rest gets immediately possible for you in your mind. So you have to break this wall that I can do this, I can do that. If you break these walls down, then it sounds cheesy. Then you can do anything. I would say then you can do 59%. I would say it's possible. I mean, I want if I want to be a NASA astronaut, I probably won't manage to do that. But if I say I want to learn concept X in data, then I know I can do this. If I put in the work, put in the hours, and be consistent in this, then everyone can break into data, can learn coding, can learn data analysis. You name it. So that's my takeaway. Just start with it and then see how it works out.
Love it. I agree. Just do it. Start somewhere.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so very much, Fabian, for coming on the show. If any of the listeners have any questions for you, where can they find and or follow you?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you can find me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of stuff there. You can simply message me. I take the time to answer nearly every request. Sometimes I don't have the time, but when it piles up, I will answer somewhere in the future. So reach out to me, follow me on LinkedIn, and we'll figure something out.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on the show with us and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
As always, folks, happy learning.